past year alone, we've seen news stories coming out of China around restrictions placed on gaming, restrictions placed on media use. However, today I'm talking to Bonnie Wang. She's a researcher and semiotician about just how some of those attitudes towards media in China might be shifting, particularly in the kids space. Bonnie, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Sam?
Just paint us a quick picture, if that's all right. Like, what does normal media usage look like in China kind of today among kids?
I think for kids, I will talk about kids maybe under 8 years old. The permitted time to use media or this kind of tech from the parents is usually after school or after kindergarten. Usually kids will go to school and then they come back. One of the first things that they do after they get back is watching TV, watching media or app. So it is a time for them to just kind of relax. A little bit of a reward for they had a day at school, they learn something. And then once the parents come back, they will start to have meals together. And then after meal, some schools and some kids will have homework, even for kindergarten kids. Once they finish, they will do a bit of like play with these texts again. That's for weekdays. And then weekend, it's a bit different. Kids are being sent to schools a lot for extracurriculum things like painting or even schoolwork and stuff. But then there's a lot of time that's spent on the way, going there to these schools and coming back. These kind of like fragmented time were filled with these kind of playing with the app, watch videos, all that sort of activities.
Traditionally, looking backwards, what have parents thought about their kids' media usage?
I think if we talk about 20 years ago, I think it tends to be kind of negative. Parents don't see almost any benefit from watching TV or playing games. It has changed quite a lot recently. Parents are much more open to kids getting into contact with these new developments, post-80s, post-90s parents who grew up with these technologies. When they're in their adolescence, they start to get into contact with these technologies and they definitely see the technology, making their life more joyful, but also benefiting from it. And then the society is also changing. So they see a lot of like opportunities from working in this media landscape. Like I think one of the best paid jobs in China is being an influencer. So although it's slightly still frowned upon, but it's an opportunity. There's opportunities in all these kind of things, and they don't want them to lose out from any of these opportunities. I think one word you hear quite a lot recently in the last 3-4 years is involution, which means that the amount of effort that you put into a work doesn't necessarily pay off. That tends to be talking about like linear progression, like in the promotion in the company or examinations and competing with your fellow students to get into college. What evolution does is it makes people don't want to put that much effort to just be okay. Again, it's about the linear progression. But then if you spread it wide, you find a lot of different opportunities. So you find your niche and then that you can progress there. So it's not all that passive that, we'll just stop working and play. But it's about like you find opportunities through playing.
Are there other kind of opportunities that maybe parents see in the media space when it comes to like what their kids are doing?
There's a way of thinking. I think it's just using technology well. Parents themselves, they start to evaluate their me time a bit more. There's a stereotype with Chinese parents of especially women for being tiger mom. But I think there's also like a slightly like a slag off of that. They also want to be a woman themselves. They have their own time, so they're not only a mom. So what these apps does is that they free the mom from having to be constantly paying attention to the kids. And then we mentioned that parents like to send the kids to extracurriculum schools. There's also, again, a lot of these companies starting to provide online classes. It's not a phenomenon just after the pandemic. It already started before the pandemic. It is because driving the kids to those schools takes so much time and they're waiting in the car for the kids to finish the school. That takes like an hour or 2 hours and then they drive back. So their whole weekend is just spent on the kids. But with these apps, now you get to spend time with your kids at home, but then the kids can do these kind of learn drawing, learn singing through all those online apps without going to a physical school. So I think there's a benefit for the parents in these areas as well.
There's benefits for the kids. They have they can learn and they can kind of grow through this. There's benefits for the parents that they're getting some time back. So is there an opportunity here as well for bonding between kids and parents to kind of occur when they're using these different kinds of products?
We always talk about the generation gap. So it's very difficult to get into what the kids is thinking about. So all these media serve as a stimulation for talking about things. So like they watch videos together, and then during normal conversations, the kids will say, we'll bring these characters from the cartoons in their daily conversation. Maybe they're sharing a meal about eating something, and the kids will be like, what will Peppa Pig think about this meal or something like that. So the parents knows what they're talking about. But then gaming is maybe a more active bonding moment. Switch has kind of taken off in big cities in China. I think Switch has a lot of multiplayer games, as well as especially those like quite physical games. You need to use your body to do things like this game Just Dance. One thing about Chinese parents is also like the physicality of kids, the physical health is quite important. For these parents, when they grew up, it was safe to play outside. Now as like China developed, there's more like automobile road, and then also there's more anonymity in the neighborhood, so there's less trust. So instead of like having kids playing outside to have like physical exercises, there's a lot more like need for physical exercises at home. So these games like Just Dance provides these kind of opportunities.
One thing I know we've talked about kind of separately is the focus on kind of physical health. I know you talked about playing outside and how gaming and digital media is starting to kind of replace some of that. But what is the focus around kind of like eye health and kind of other types of health in China when it comes to media? Is that something that parents and kids are thinking about right now?
I don't know actually why, but like eye health is extremely important in China. So like traditionally, kids were asked to do eye exercise after every 2 classes at school. So you'll start to play the music, and then you'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then like the whole class will close their eyes and do eye exercise, and then somebody will check that the kids have their eyes closed and actually doing that. It is a cultural phenomenon. Parents don't want to see their kids starting wearing glasses from a younger age. So with all these screens, eye health is definitely a big concern. Something the pads or like these technologies are doing is that they can allow parents to set a timer on it, or like a child mode. So once you enter the child mode, it will like the app will kind of shut the screen down, and then the app will tell you, your mom wants you to stop looking at the screen and look afar for like, I don't know, 5 minutes or something. And then the kids will not be able to use the screen during that time. And also these devices can detect how close or far you are with the screen. So if you're too close, the device will warn you that you're too close to the screen. Please move your body backward or move the screen away.
Bonnie, it's been really fascinating. It's been really interesting to hear your thoughts on all of this. If people want to learn a bit more about you, get in touch, kind of hear more of your thoughts, where should they go?
I think you can find me on LinkedIn, Bonnie Wang, and then can send me an email at bunnydarko.w@gmail.com.
Bonnie, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. It's been great.
Thank you, Sam.